I just got back from driving the BMW iX3 in Spain, and I learned that it is an extremely impressive machine. With 400 miles of range and 400 kilowatt charging, BMW's newest electric SUV pushes the limit of what an electric car can do. And it shows that the EV industry is closer than ever to besting gas cars once and for all. To better understand how BMW accomplished all of this, I caught up with two lead engineers of the Neue Klasse platform, a next-generation electric vehicle technology that debuts in the iX3. Philip Guerrero is the battery project lead for the Neue Klasse, and Lennart Lenke is responsible for charging. Here are my unedited interviews with them all about the iX3's batteries and ultra-fast charging. All right, so the iX3 has 400 miles of range according to the EPA cycle estimated. It has 400 kilowatt charging, and a lot of that has to do with the batteries and the drivetrain, obviously. So here to explain what's new in the BMW iX3 is Philip from the BMW team. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Beautiful place here. Love to show you our innovations in Gen 6.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's start with the battery, which you have one of them over here. So what's new about the Gen 6 battery in the iX3 compared to all the previous generations of BMW batteries?
All right. I mean, there are three big differences. The first, I hold in my hands now, that's the round cell, the BMW round cell. It's a cylindrical format, 46 millimeters in diameter, 95 millimeters in height. And that's the core of our BMW Gen 6 high voltage battery. In comparison to the predecessors, we had prismatic cells. Now we switched to these round cells. The round cells have been developed, let's say, on a blank sheet of paper. So we looked at the requisites of our customers. We looked at what's best for our customers, and we have a lot of expertise with batteries at BMW. Since 2008, we are doing a lot of research on that, and since 2012, we concentrated all of that in our battery cell competence center in Munich. And there we started with that blank sheet of paper and looked at what's best in terms of longevity, in terms of range, in terms of charging, and in terms of safety. And what came out is this battery cell with a 20% increased energy density if you compare it to Gen 5.
Right. And so this is a pretty large, here, I'll show it to the camera here. This is actually a pretty big cell, right, in the EV world. Like a lot of cars use a 2170, a lot have a shorter cell. And this thing, I mean, is a big part of energy density, just making a cell that is larger and larger so you don't have as much of that casing, so you have more active material in the cell. Is that kind of the idea here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, in the end, if you look at our pack, and probably you've seen the stats already, 108.7 kilowatt hours.
Right.
108.7 on the whole pack, that's pretty amazing, and that we can realize with that little battery cell.
Yeah, and so why, so the previous generations were prismatic, you said, right? These are cylindrical. What makes a cylindrical cell better, or what makes it better for this application? Because I feel like every car company says their type of cell is better, right? Some say it's prismatic, some say it's pouch. You're now moving to cylindrical.
Exactly.
What's better about cylindrical?
I think you cannot say what's better, but it's always depending on what you want to achieve. And what we wanted to achieve in our iX3 is having the most range and the best charging, and at the same time perfect longevity and perfect safety for our customers. And we achieved that because we don't only use those cells, but we put those cells with we call it cell-to-pack approach. So we put them directly into the casing of the battery. So we just stack them next to each other, cell by cell. Then we have cell rows, and then we put rows after row after row into the car. And with that, we get this really high energy density, which is pretty amazing in the car. And at the same time, we have really little room that we need, little space only. And therefore, we are really highly efficient, and we can get that amazing range for our customers. And therefore, we use that round cell because of that. We don't use any module structures, because if you do prismatic cells, you often need to do modules like we did in Gen 5, and that's the second big difference to Gen 5 technology. Prismatic cell, round cell, and module structures now cell-to-pack approach.
Right.
Because of the module structures that you need for the prismatic cells, you have a lot of spare material around the cells to have them in place, to hold them in place, to combine the modules together, to put them together into one electric current. And that is a lot of weight that you are driving around as a customer, and also material that does not contain any energy. And if you aim for high energy, this is the best concept.
And so why, I mean, maybe this is going too deep, but like, why do prismatic cells need more structure or need more module structure than a cylindrical cell?
Yeah, there are some effects. I don't know if you want to
Yeah, go for it.
to go that deep, but there's some. It's about safety related things. Can we, Bernie? Can I go into detail about those things? Yeah. It's some safety related things like if you have a thermal event, then you can make it. You need to make a structure around it, also for like a effect that's called swelling force. So for all these safety features, yeah, it's always better to have them like caged, let's say like this, and also to put them into one electric current. It's better to have it in a module structure, because then you can more easily exchange them also. So that was the approach that we followed.
But so for prismatic versus cylindrical, is it basically that the prismatic cells are all stacked perfectly next to each other, and so that means you have to put it in a module, versus cylindrical, there's space in between them or something like that?
No. Also for prismatic cells, you need some space in between to let them move, and it's always not good if you have one cell next to the other cell, because then the heat from one cell goes directly to the other cell, so you should have some isolation in between. So that's better. But our round cells are pretty close together. But of course, if you have a round cell, then they are not perfectly matching if you compare to a cubic form. But for that, we have the cooling in between, and therefore we use that space pretty well, and this gives us a lot of advantages.
Right. And so you mentioned cell to pack. So the cells are just stacked up inside the pack, no module structure. That means the pack is how much more dense than previous packs?
It's also 20% in total.
20% greater pack density, also 20% greater density, energy density at the cell level.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the pack also integrates into the car in kind of an interesting way, right?
Yeah, true. True, because now we are really aiming for our iX3 is only electric. And with that, we have big advantages in terms of how to use the space inside of the car. So we follow the so-called cell-to-open pack approach, which means that we are mounting the battery directly from below underneath the car. So if you look into the car and there's no battery inside, you can basically see the floor.
Right.
Yeah, because there's nothing underneath, no floor plate or anything like that. And then we mount the battery directly from underneath and put the floor mat, the floor on top. And the seats on top, so it's perfectly integrated into the overall vehicle.
Nice.
And with that, we can achieve a lot more sporty silhouette of the car, because it's not that high, and you save weight, you save cost, and has many big advantages. And therefore, we aimed for that cell-to-open pack approach.
Right. And is that a brand new thing for BMW EVs to have the battery be the floor of the car, basically?
Exactly. Before that, that's also one big advantage of our Gen 5, that we could easily use it with combustion engines, plug-in hybrids, all that. But there we still have the floor plate underneath the car, so that we cannot easily mount the battery just underneath. But there are some other things that you have to keep in mind. But with our Gen 6, we can perfectly do it from underneath, and that's the big advantage here.
And then, all right, so let's talk about the drive units here. You have two different drive units, front and rear.
Yeah. We forgot the third big difference.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I need to say that.
It's okay.
I'm the project lead for that battery, so I want to tell you everything.
No, please.
Because it's really interesting. The third big difference. First one was the cell. Second one was the module approach, and the third one is the energy master.
Right.
Because the electrics of our battery, and that's also the difference to Gen 5. In Gen 5, we had the electronics, all these components, the battery management unit, directly inside of the battery.
Okay.
So if you want to take it out, you have to open the battery up, you have to take it out, you have to exchange parts, and then you have to close it again and mount it again underneath the car. Now you can completely do it just in service. If you go to your workshop and you have some issues or whatever, then you can directly do it via the rear seats. So you can just take out the rear seats. You can go to the energy master, take things out, exchange whatever you want to do, and then close it, but without taking the whole battery out. That's the big advantage of our energy master. And the cool thing about it is that it combines everything that you need in terms of electronics. It has the battery management unit inside. It has the high voltage and low voltage power supply inside. So all safety relevant functions, diagnosis functions, everything is done in that energy master, and that's pretty amazing. And the cool thing about the energy master is that it's completely built at BMW in-house. We've developed it in-house. Also software is coming from in-house, and also the pack itself is produced at our different production facilities all around the world, in our battery production facilities that are always close to the vehicle plant, so that we have this really short logistic times.
So in general, I remember you saying basically everything about these batteries is handled in-house by BMW, right? Except for maybe producing the cells themselves.
Exactly.
But you collaborated on the chemistry, you design the cells, you build the packs, all that stuff is in-house.
Exactly. Yeah, we're always really close with our suppliers. So I told you that we have our experts at Battery Cell Competence Center in Munich.
Yeah.
So they know a lot about chemistry, about battery cells. So we did it together with our partners, with our suppliers for the cells. So we know also how to manufacture them. We also have our own cell manufacturing competence center. So we are really on eye level with that. And the pack itself, as you said, completely produced in-house and also developed in-house, and the software for the pack also, which is pretty amazing. And I think it shows. And we are, I work for that department. I'm the project lead for the battery. So we are really proud of that we did that, and that we really have this deep knowledge about battery technology that we have in-house at BMW.
So now you do need to take the energy from the pack. You need to put it to the ground, to the wheels in some way. So for that, we have these drive units.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, we have a rear drive unit, front drive unit that are used in the iX3.
Yeah.
Maybe we can take one at a time. Like, what's new about these?
So in general, in Gen 5, we of course also had engines already inside, electric motors. But to make these for the 6th generation, we once again tried to think everything new. So, as you know, BMW means Bayerische Motorenwerke, so motors, engines.
I can't say it like that, but I do know it.
Yeah. You can try.
No, thanks.
You can try.
This is my video.
Okay. Bayerische Motorenwerke. Motoren are part of our heritage. Engines are part of our heritage. So we know a lot about them, and so we looked at every single detail about cooling, about the housing, what we can do better with energy distribution. And Gen 6 is with 800 volt. Our pack is with 800 volt. Of course, our engines also run on 800 volt. And with those 800 volts and additionally our so-called SiC inverter with silicium carbide, we were able to reduce losses by 40%. So in total, 40% less losses in the overall engine lineup and 10% less weight in total. So we really optimized everything.
That's in the motors, right?
That's in the motors.
Okay, yeah.
And if we go into detail then on the rear axis is always our primary driving axis. We have our EESM, it's like an externally excited synchronous motor with 240 kilowatts. That sits on the rear axis. That's perfect for performance, if you're at high speeds, and at the same time it's really sustainable. And on the front axis, we have a smaller one. I don't know if you see it in the video or if I'm standing in front of it.
There you go.
That one?
Yeah.
That's a so-called ASM. It's an asynchronous motor with 123 kilowatts, and it sits on the front. And on the front, it's a secondary axis, so you don't need it always, but when you need the power, you want to use it. And therefore, this is pretty good because it is really efficient in terms of weight and cost efficiency. And it has other advantages too. And the good thing is that with that lineup in total, 240 in the rear and 123 at the front, we have a total system output of 345 kilowatts. And that's what we use in every iX3 that you can find on the streets now. At the moment, it's always with those two engines. So you always have a real all-wheel drive.
Right. And so tell me, what does, you said externally, right? Externally excited synchronous motor. What does that mean? How is that different from, because I think most people are probably familiar with permanent magnet motors. How is this different from that, and what are the kind of advantages of that?
Yeah, the good thing is that you don't need any, because if you don't have a permanently excited engine, you don't need any permanent magnets, which is pretty good because then it's more sustainable. And that's the biggest advantage that we achieved with that engine. And at the same time, you have this, as I said, a really high power at high speed, so that you can drive really sporty.
And then with the asynchronous motor, one of the big benefits, right, is that you can basically cut power to it, right? So you basically turn it off, so that if you're cruising on the highway, if you just want efficiency, you don't have to use it.
Exactly.
And is that the same thing? Because if this doesn't have permanent magnet motors, or if this doesn't have magnets, can you do the same thing with this, with the rear?
Yeah, you can always use less energy if you don't want to use it, but of course this is the primary axis.
Yeah.
So whenever you're driving, whenever you're accelerating it, you're definitely using it.
Right. And so then, like, if we're talking overall drivetrain, or I guess overall vehicle, how has the efficiency been improved throughout the drivetrain compared to previous BMWs?
So in total, as I said, I mean, the big things that we can do from drivetrain side, and I can only speak for Gen 6 eDrive technology, of course, we did more things in the car. We improved aerodynamics, we improved in total the weight of the car. We have perfect tires there, which are really optimized also for aerodynamics once again. But what we did with our concept is that we are delivering really highly potent motors that you can use with really high power, but at the same time reduce the weight. And also for the battery, if you compare to the predecessor, then you have, if you compare it on just on energy level, for the same amount of energy, you need less weight. So it's really optimized in terms of that. And in the end, we still have 108.7 kilowatt hours, which is amazing. And you get 805 kilometers. What is that in miles? 500, right?
Something like that, yeah.
It's impressive. Man.
Yeah. And so, I mean, less weight, great for efficiency, great for range. But a big part of that is also just making this more fun to drive, right? Making it drive like a BMW. Is that kind of part of it?
It's still a BMW. So it's, we say Freude am Fahren, something else that you could try to say. it's pro driving joy, So you can really enjoy driving that car. And I've driven it and it's really a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely felt that too when I was driving it. It definitely feels lighter and kind of like more agile than it is. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good job.
Pretty cool car, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the perfect battery. And engines, of course.
Well, thanks so much, Philip. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right, so now we are here to learn all about the charging on the iX3, which is one of this car's standout features. We're here with the person responsible for that in the Neue Klasse cars. So please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lennart Lendke. I'm responsible for the charging experience of BMW's Neue Klasse. So, and today I think we're talking about the two main important things about charging. So, first, I think charging performance is one of the big things when we're talking about the Neue Klasse, about the Gen 6 drivetrain architecture. So, drive further, charge faster actually says pretty much what was our idea behind it. So range, of course, we talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
So we talked also about 800 volt architecture, but when it comes to charging, the 800 volt architecture helps us very much to charge at very high powers. So we don't need excessive currents for this. So helps us charging up to 400 kilowatt. And very, very important, we are charging like 371 kilometers in 10 minutes. So WLTP range.
Right.
So, and this makes it a really big game changer. So when it comes to long distance travel, so we can like travel at the same speed as with a fuel powered car. So we don't have longer charging stops. So we can drive very fast. We can make really great road trips with this charging experience.
Yeah. And so 400 kilowatt charging in the US for us, that means 10 minutes gets you 175 miles of roughly of EPA range. Tell me about, you mentioned 800 volt architecture, but tell me about kind of the major parts of the engineering of this car that go into that higher charging rate.
So actually, it's more like an ecosystem approach. So you have to think about the whole system. You have to improve a whole system like cooling for those high charging powers. You have to design the whole wiring harness, also charging socket to make it robust, so that it works under all conditions like hot and cold temperatures. And of course, speaking about cold temperatures, the preconditioning of the battery gets even more intuitive with the new system here, so that you are, when you're on a long trip, always prepared for best charging performance. And also like the integration into navigation, e-route system, and also into the app helps you very much to find also the infrastructure that you need, because 400 kilowatt is something that you cannot only think about the car, but about the whole approach's infrastructure, that you find the best chargers, giving you the best charging experience.
Yeah, and so you did a lot of work. You are introducing route planning, right, to the BMW app to go along with this car. Tell me about what's new in that app.
So we can do the route planning already before we are starting the trip. So, and we're bringing even new features like the AI-based correction layer. So if you have inaccurate positioning of the chargers, so we know exactly where cars are charging. So we are correcting the position, so on an AI-based algorithm, so that also older cars are getting even more precise routing. So you no longer have to look very long for a charger because maybe it's inaccurate in the map.
Yeah.
So that's making it more convenient if you're in an area where you're not so used to the charging infrastructure.
Yeah.
And also, like when we're talking about long distance travel, so sometimes there are chargers that are maybe rated at a 300, 350 kilowatt system, but in real life, due to many reasons, they don't perform as advertised. So we are having a power learning here. So also we're collecting data from the cars, and we will show the customer the highest power ever seen on different charge points. So this makes it more easy to plan. Is this a really good charger, or is it maybe not such a good idea to charge there?
Right. So is that coming from, I remember you mentioned yesterday, that's coming from reviews, right? Reviews that you're finding on the internet of people saying, oh, I only got to this, to 150 kilowatts, but this is rated for 200, so maybe avoid this. But also you're taking data from the cars themselves and seeing how those are charging.
Exactly.
Cool.
So we're using all the knowledge that we're getting from other BMW cars and making it usable for other customers. So that's our approach to make charging more convenient.
Yeah, and so does that mean in the app you'll see some information about that charger, maybe a warning. Do you also see that in the infotainment system if you're just routing to a charger from the screen here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And well, the next big topic
Yeah.
about charging, actually, that's a complete new feature here. So that's all bidirectional charging.
Yeah.
So that's something that we are bringing for the first time with the Generation 6. And so we have actually two additional uses. So you don't have just a car, but you also have like a big energy storage system for your home, and you have a mobile power bank. And
Right, you have a 108 kilowatt hour battery that's at your disposal to, for your solar panels, to store energy from your solar panels, to back up your house, whatever, right?
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty big power bank here in your car that you can use. So like when you're at home, so let's talk about the energy storage use case first.
Yeah.
So you can connect your car with the BMW Wallbox Professional, so that will be the new wallbox we're introducing. And that's a DC wallbox, and it's able to feed back power to your home or also to your grid. And if you have a use case with a PV installation, you charge your car during daytime and you discharge your car when the sun is shining. So and you can use the battery in your car, and you can also control, of course, what's the lowest SOC. So you can set your remaining range so that the car is always making sure that you have enough range on the go. And you can also set your departure time when the car should be charged to a level. You can set the level to whatever you want.
Yeah. So that's this is kind of like the the most premium option, the best option you're offering for bidirectional charging is this DC option that you use this special wall box, and you can feed a ton of energy. How many kilowatts can you feed back to the grid or to your house through that option?
So for the US, we're talking about a 19.2 kilowatt rated wall box. So you can charge and also discharge with the 19.2 kilowatts. So that's pretty much power for powering your house, for powering heating systems, air conditioning. So that's pretty much power, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and also if you have a blackout situation, so for US and Canada specific, we are having this blackout function that you can also power your house when there's a shortage. So when you have a blackout, your car helps you to power up your house. So that's also, I think, especially for some regions in the US, a very important feature.
Yeah, and then so there's also kind of a lower powered option, right? For maybe if you don't want to build the whole system, if you don't want to buy that DC option, there is one that basically turns your car into there's also a different option, right, where you can basically just plug in a power strip essentially into your car, and you can use that for camping, for other things. Tell me a little bit about that option.
Yeah, exactly. So we have some multi-function chargers that we also introduce with the car. So you have different adapters that you can connect to it. So starting with our blackout scenario, we have a vehicle-to-home adapter, so you can still power your home with 3.6 kilowatt, so a little less power. But in a blackout scenario, you can at least feed everything that you need, like a fridge or lights.
And that uses what sort of charger do you have to buy for your garage in order to do that?
So if you want to use this, you have to buy the charging professional option with the car.
Okay.
So the bigger AC charging option, and then it's included. So then you can use those adapters. And you already were talking about the power strips. So we have also the adapter for the glamping use case.
Right.
So we have 3 power sockets. So and also 3.6 kilowatts available here. So makes it a very good travel companion. So if you think about glamping, if you think about some electric espresso cooker or whatever you want to use with this, so and you have lots of energy for staying for a very long time on the power of the car.
Right. And so for the option for that, in order to use the emergency blackout option, you buy the charging professional option on the car, which gives you the more powerful onboard charger, and that comes with the multifunction charger and then an interface to plug that into your home. Is that right?
So you'll have the multifunction charger for US, and you can buy additional adapters actually, because we have a whole set of different adapters for different use cases. So whatever you need, you can buy as additional equipment here.
But so in order to use that for your home, do you need to buy anything additional?
You have the vehicle to home adapter.
Okay.
So, but with this, you're ready to go.
Got it. And then I think last thing we should talk about, unless there's probably more, but the last thing that comes to my mind is the AI charging flap. So tell me a little bit about why put AI into the charging flap, and what does that do? What does that do for customers?
Yeah, so of course we have electric charging flap in the car, so making it easier to open it, and also very convenient when you continue your trip. It closes, of course, automatically, but when it comes to starting the charging, it also has to open automatically.
Right.
And we have to recognize when the driver really wants to charge, or when he just wants to open a door or something. So that's why we're using an AI-based algorithm. So we know exactly where the driver is moving around the car, and when he's approaching the charging flap, then we recognize it, and then we open just in this time the charging flap. So, and you can charge one-hand operation. You don't have to hassle with the charging flap. So doing it everything automatically. So, and also if you use route guidance, it will open when you arrive at the charging destination. So then it also opens automatically. But the other feature with the AI-based algorithm is pretty nice when you're, for example, at home. So, and have your home installation, when you have charged there once, for the second time, the car will know, hey, there's a charger. Last time you charged there, and if you do your movement around the car and pick up your charger, then it will open up just in time. So that's a pretty convenient feature, so don't have to do anything on a wet car like this.
Yeah, so if you route to a charger via the guidance, that's how the car knows.
Yeah,
and so
that's the easy case.
Right, so then it opens.
Yeah.
And in the harder case, if you didn't route there, if you just went to a charger that you know, or you're charging at home, once you charge there once, it recognizes it, and then it tracks your movement around the back of the car.
Yeah, exactly.
And opens up. Cool. And then so what I noticed, so we actually did end up charging this a little bit the other day, and so the flap opens, you plug in, and then when you lock the car, the flap closes like halfway, just covering the top of the charging handle. What is the thinking behind that?
Yeah, so now here hard to imagine, but if you think about winter conditions, so like if you have snow or just like icy water, then your charging flap might be full of snow, ice, something blocking the charging system. So that's why we are putting it in a protection position, so making the water not going into the charging flap, but going away from the charging flap.
Well, that's everything.
Okay.
That's everything to know about charging in the iX3. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
If you want to learn more about the iX3, including what it's like to drive, what its interior is like, and what it's like to use that wild new screen setup, check out the description below for a link to my full first drive review.